All right, there, Latin AP. Here we go. 429. Um, in that same night, it just so happened that there was a full moon, which during the day usually brought very high tides in the ocean, which was at that time unknown to our men. Thus, at the same time, the tides began to fill Caesar's ships, his battleships, which he had used to bring over his army. In other words, they were sinking ships because the tide was so high. The ones that are parked just off the coast. And even those ships which had been brought up onto dry land, the tide filled them too. And the transport ships, the tide filled them too, which had been riding at anchor. The thunderstorm was smashing them all and not allowing any chance to either manage or to help or rendering any assistance to the ships. So the men couldn't even get out there to loose the anchor and all that. No, the ships are just getting smashed all around. It's a terrible, terrible storm. Once a huge amount of ships had been wrecked, because the remaining ones were useless for the purpose of sailing, since their ropes, anchors, and the rest of their equipment had gotten lost. A huge disturbance of the entire army arose. In other words, everyone got real depressed. Something which was necessarily going to happen, for there were no other ships. Neither were there other ships by means of which they could be carried home or back to the continent, and they were all lacking what they needed. They were lacking all the things that they needed, which would have been for use for repairing ships. So all the things that they needed to repair ships also broken. And because it was established that everyone ought to winter in Gaul, he had not, or was going to winter in Gaul, he had not procured, well, it's not he. I want to say he, but actually it's not in the writing. Grain had not been supplied for the winter in these camps being the Britain camps. So Caesar is there with no food, no supplies, no way of getting back because of a storm. So that's not good. All right, I'm going to hit the button.